can ask as much. Yeah. Weiter. Frag the Gemara. Now the Gemara wants to suggest something else. Yeah. Ema, third line, Nundala de Madalef. Let's hope the Zoom's going to start behaving itself finally after 5 attempts. Let's see. Bezos Hashem. The Gemara now suggesting something different. Ema, let us say, Venofal, let's say the word Venofal, it fell, which is the first word in that statement, Klal. Let's say the word Venofal is Klal. I'm sure everyone here is familiar with the concept of Klal, Uprat, Klal, right? Very good. Venofal is Klal, general term. Shol B'chamo Prat. Shol B'chamo are the details that come to limit, big time to limit the general rule. Shol Prat. And then Klal Uprat and B'chlal, Elamashe B'prat. I would say, maybe the Klal is everything. Shol B'chamo is Prat, which is only those details that come to big time to constrict and limit the general rule. And only Prat, Shol B'chamo in Midachrina Loi. Wow. Maybe really Shol B'chamo only. But if the camel or the horse or the goat fell inside, I'm potter. Maybe it's only Shol B'chamo and that's it. Maybe nothing else. Because when you have a Klal in Prat, Yetadan Elamash B'Prat. Only the Prat only. Don't confuse with Klal Upatu Klal. Klal Upatu Klal means it was a huge Klal that includes everything. Prat made it more limited. And then another Klal open the air a bit to other things that are similar to the Prat. But if you have Klal Prat, it's only the Prat. Only the Prat. Shol, Chamo, and nada, zero. Maybe that's what the Torah comes to tell me. And it says, maybe only Shol v'Chamo, no other animals. Why derahsa kosul? And it says, Gemara, no. Amri, we say not like that. Baal Shor Yeshalim, Chazal ve'kolal. It says afterwards another general statement. Baal Shor Yeshalim, the owner of the shore shall pay. Doesn't say pay Shol v'Chamo, pay for everything and everything. Klal upatu klal. You have a general rule, then a limited one, and then again a general one, but less. Yatadan ela ke'ena prat. You only bring to the halacha, you only include in the halacha ke'ena prat, things similar to the prat, which means ma prat mefush ba'alei chaim, avkol ba'alei chaim. Oh, very good. Just like the prat were two samples or examples of a certain type of thing called animals, so too the second prat is coming to, I always have this like graphic in my mind and don't have the whiteboard here. Imagine yourself like, a very big one, then very small, then another one which is like in between, very good. Bigger than the very limited one, but smaller than the general rule. We started off with everything, and then in the middle of only Shol v'Chamo, and then we opened up the gap a bit more. We opened up the space to include other things, other items similar to the ones in the middle, any animal, no kelim, no vessels. Let's say follow Rabbanon. Yeah, or according to Rabbi Yossi, I add kelim because of all. But Lamaise, all Ba'alei Chaim are included. Very nice. Ba'alei, right? Ba'alei pays exactly. No, thank you for the correction. The owner of the bor, Mishalom, thank you. Yitzchak, Shkoich, thank you. So Ba'al bor pays for everything, but it doesn't mean everything. It means animals only. Correct the Gemara. Wait a second. If you want to go with Klal Upatu Klal, I have a different idea. Shol v'Chamo have something in common that other animals don't. What is that? I would say, wait a second. Ma prat mefurosh davar shenivlosa mitama b'maga u'b'masa. Shol v'Chamo are animals. You can call them animals, behemoths, whatever, whichever way you want to call them. They have one thing in common, and that is if you touch or if you carry the nevela, the dead body, even though everybody here knows that shor is kosher and chamor is not, but actually it doesn't make a difference. There's one area in halacha doesn't make a difference. Tumas nevela. Nevela is one of the avos satuma. If a person touches nevela, or if a person carries the nevela without touching it in a bag, you have a shopping bag, inside the shopping bag, big shopping bag, you have a chamor, baby donkey, and it's dead, and you carry it, you become rishon latuma. It's avatuma, makes you rishon latuma. Yeah, nevela, metame, the kazais, even the kazais of it is metame. So then, then the question is, maybe shol v'chamo that metame b'maga u'b'masa. So af kol dovo, they include other animals shenivlos metame b'maga u'b'masa, including other animals, other mammals, other live animals that are dead eventually. The metame b'maga u'b'masa. that would be a horse, there would be a camel, there would be many other animals, excluding aval, but oifois loy. What about oifois? What about chicken, for example, birds? Yeah, let's say someone's rooster, chickens walking down the street, boom, looks like a funny cartoon from Disney. Yeah, the chicken walks and then falls into the pit. I'd be potter. Why? Because an oaf is an animal in general, generally speaking, is a type of animal, but it's not metame b'mago b'masa. It says nivlas oif tohir is metame only when you eat it. Besides the kashrus issue, of course, which is nevela. If a person eats nevela of off tor, and I think the Maran says once it's already near the mouth and about to be eaten, then already it's metame. Yeah, there is such a thing in the Gemara there. I remember pretty well. Yeah, once it's in your or about to or in the throat, then it's metame. But if you touch the nevela of a dove, that actually you can see them sometimes right here, a nevela of a rooster, a nevela of whichever you want, nivlas of tor, you touch them or you carry them because the dove in your merpesit is dead finally, and you carry it, you do not become tome. It's not, doesn't make you tome. So here you are. If you want to tell me klal, pratu klal, that business with playing around with a general versus minimal, then maybe shor v'chamo, they come to represent not the entire world of animals, all of zoology. Maybe they only represent other animals that metabe b'mago b'masa. But maybe if a rooster falls into a bowl, or a dove walks instead of flying and it fell into the bowl, or I don't know which one, I don't know, peacock fell into the bowl, then I'm going to be potter. Maybe. And it says the Gemara, no. In Ken, if that would be your story, and now we're going to get your business, Baruch, if that would be the case, it would be enough to write only one. In other words, had I really want to represent a more limited, now if Shor v'Chamor only come to represent a limited group of animals, only those animals, the exclusive club that become the metame once dead, which is basically all mammals, tray for kosher, excluding the birds, would be enough to say Shor or Chamor. Just say one, bring one of them, and that would already tell me, oh, that's more exclusive to mention one rather than two. So one animal, either Shor or Chamor, would tell me only the one that is metame b'mago b'masa. Because we wrote Shor and Chamor, because the limited group is not that limited, is really mentioning two details, two items of that group, that comes to tell me that the group is larger. The club accepts more members than just if it would be one animal. One animal would be more constricted. All these things very similar just to Chamor or just to Shor, only those metame b'maga, as opposed to the flying, the birds. But if you say Shor and Chamor, that gives you more room to breathe, and already gives you more items, more details, and that would tell you what? Enochinami, all animals, including birds. Yeah? Because we come Shor and Chamor, that's animals mekabel tuma, metame, and also animals that are dead, not mekabel tuma. Frag the Gemara does not give in. Nay. Says the Gemara, Hi Nichtov, which one would we write? Which one would we write? You say, okay, so just pick one, pick Shor, and I would have known, or Chamor, whichever one you want, and what? And then I would know it's a more exclusive club that only includes the big mammals that are metame b'mago b'masa. Says the Gemara, no, it's not going to work. Which one would you choose? Whichever one you choose, you're going to fall. Excuse the pun. You're going to fall apart. Because of Shor. Had we written only Shor, I would have said Hava Amina Kov legabe mizbech in Shen Kov legabe mizbech loy. Last time I checked, only animals that are kosher for consumption by Jewish people, and only behemoths, not chayes, right? Only domesticated animals that are kosher can make it to the mizbech. But a horse, chas v'shalom, can't make it to mizbech. Not even a deer or a hart. They can make a hart without an e, just a. Yeah, a hart cannot make it to the mizbech. So I would say maybe enochinami Shor. Maybe the super duper exclusive frumy club of those that can make it to the mizbech. Only on them I'm chayev. I would have known Chamor. I would have made it super exclusive. Only those. Only who? Shor and its family, and goat and its family, and the sheep and its family. That's all. I wouldn't have known anybody else. Because of Chamor, so maybe include Chamor, lower class animal traits. Maybe the Chamor animal, had I written Chamor, Havamina, I would have said, no, Chamor also have exclusivity. Kodesh b'bchoiro. Remember? Right? Kodesh peter chamor. Right? Chamor that's born has kedushas b'chor. Right? You have to switch it with a say or behead it. But the chamor, funnily enough, because they carried the Bnei Israel and their goods from Mitzrayim, I don't know why, but chamor has, I mean, we do know why, sort of, but chamor has special kedusha, so to speak, of kedushas b'chor. But I said, only chamor, he's a choshever. Kodesh b'bchoiro in, shen kodesh b'bchoiro loi. But all other animals, no. So horses, by the way, and camels, and deer, and harts, all of them, they wouldn't be included. They're not kodesh b'bchoiro, and then can't make it to the mizbech, right? So one animal wouldn't have taught me, wouldn't be enough anyways. So you're telling me, no, I could have learned one. It's not true. You couldn't have learned one, because had you said only one of the two, you'd come to even two mitzumtzam. You become too limited, and that would be, of course, wrong, right? So Mimela was still stuck with the question: how do you know about the rooster? How do you know about the birds? Don't tell me that it's prat u'klal u'prat, because it's not working. Yeah, because you can't say shor or chamor, right? Shor v'chamor is there not to include the chicken. Shor v'chamor is there to include what? The camels and the horses. Because I didn't explain it well enough. Now that we have shor and chamor, we say, very nice. We have those that are kosher lemizbeach, right? Which is shor, but it's not b'bchoiro. And we have those that are not kosher lemizbeach, right? Like the chamor, but they have b'choiro. Mela can say, let's be more inclusive and include the camel, because camel is good enough because it doesn't make it to the mizbeach, right? And the horse can't make it to the mizbeach. Okay, even those are not up to mizbeach, we have them from chamor. Okay, but you can't say chamor only because it's kodesh b'bchoiro. But still, the chicken, the bird, is out of the story, right? I would still say that it's only those that are metam b'mago b'masa. We have three levels here. There's the super kedusha, there's metam b'mago b'masa, and there's all inclusive, including the birds. We got stuck in the middle of the road. Shor v'chamor don't include the bird. They include only other big mammals that are metam b'mago b'masa, but they don't include the bird still. Right? Because only chamor and shor would only include those that are kadosh, one kedusha or another. Shor v'chamor is including who? Camels and horses and I don't know, and sheep and harts. But lamaisa, we still don't know the bird, the birdie, if it fell into the pit, we don't know that yet. So we're still stuck with the klal prat uklal, which is not satisfying. Is that so? If my friend's expensive rooster, the best rooster in town, if he wins all the chicken fights, yeah, like in the south, is he going to be stam? He's going to fall into the pit and nobody's going to pay. Is that so? That's not the halacha. So what's the source? That's okay. We're talking exeris hakosuv. We're here being very exeris hakosuv. We're not using any practical things. Elo mokro. Therefore, we have to run away to a different place, to a different source. Wow. There's a different source. You know how we know the bird? I'll tell you how. Shor v'chamor teaches me what? Shor v'chamor, only the mammals, the big ones. How do you know the bird? The bird I know from the hameis yeloi, anything that dies. The chicken also dies. Later, the chicken wasn't careful enough. The chicken fell inside and died. It choked, suffocated, it broke its bones. The Maaseh died. The hameis yeloi comes to include and to let in all members to the club, even birds. The hameis yeloi. Wait a second. Are you saying the hameis yeloi comes to tell me including what? Including the birds. Okay, but only anything that dies. Only things that die. Some things don't die. For example, Frag the Gemara, Ben Rabbanon, the Kamimati lehu lekelim. Both Rabbanon, that they found necessary the word oi to explain the word oi to exclude kelim. Uben Rabbi the Kamerabi lehu lekelim. According to Rita, believes that kelim really are chayv. You really are chayv on kelim, on the china set of dishes. Kelim b'nei misa ninhu. Are kelim considered something that dies? Do you say my plate died? Usually you don't use that loshon. In other words, the question is, both Rabbi and Rabbanon, they put kelim, excuse the pun, on the table. Rabbanon find the pasuk, a word to exclude them. Rabbi includes them. But at the end of the day, everyone believes that the word kelim, actual dishes or garments, are in the story here. They're in the context. But why? If you tell me Vamesi Eloi comes to include things that are dead, that may die, that's only living beings and not kelim. Answers the Gemara, no. Back to 2021, almost two. You say my phone died. Right? The battery's off. Say my phone died. Says the Gemara. We look to first Gemara. Shvirasan zoy misasan. When the kelim break, that's their death. It's a death. Death. In other words, the Lashon HaTorah means anything that expires, anything that poof goes away, is what is shvirasan zoy misasan. Okay? In other words, when the kelim break, that's called death. Very good. Times the turn tells me anything that dies, anything that dies, all animals and all vessels and all people, everyone will be included. Tam Rabbanan and tell me, show, Adam, Chama, below kelim. Adam and kelim are siphoned out and excluded. But alone, the word alone, Adam, Mesi Eloi, comes to tell me anything that dies. And then we had to pick out of the club two members, Adam and kelim. Okay? It would have been so nice. But now, frag the Gemara another question. Well, Rav, frag the Gemara, Rav. Remember Machlokes Rav and Shmuel? How can you forget? I don't know if you guys were around or not when we said, you were still around. Well, Rav the Omar, Bol Shechiv Elav Toiro, Lehevloi, V'loi, Lechavotoi. That's the famous Rav in Daf Nun Amud Beis. Said Rav that if the animal, or let's say the animal to be on the safe side, or the person who was injured, he fell inside, the animal fell inside with its face facing down, he nose dived into the bore, and the first thing that hit it was the bad air, the stagnant air. Then lehevloi, the hevel, is what kills, what the main chiyuv is actually the bad air, what's caused by the bad air in the bore, which has to be small according to Rav, and not the chavoto, not the hit, not the collision. That's not what you're chayiv. Of course there's collision. What? The impact, okay, not the impact, okay. That's not what really is mechayev the balabo. Now that again brings a question. Ben Rabbanon, Ben Rabbi Yehuda, both Rabbanon and Rabbi Yehuda, because both Rabbanon and Rabbi Yehuda believe that kelim are in the story here. Rabbanon exclude them, Rabbi Yehuda includes them. But according to both, kelim b'nei hevla ninhu. Are kelim b'nei hevla? If I put my china dishes in a bad air, anything's going to happen to them? Hapiton. Bad air affects a person's lungs, a person's breathing. I can attest to that. But mapitom kelim, says the Gemara, Amri, yes, well, back then the kelim were not as sophisticated as today. The chadati, yes, says the Gemara. Sometimes kelim can be affected by bad air. It's new kelim, chadati are new, chadash, chadati. The mifkeim mehevla, they can pop, they can break from bad air. Yeah. In other words, when the kli made out of cheres is too new and wasn't yet, it's still susceptible to, to the air, to the effect of the air around it. If it's in bad air, it can pop from that. Yes, it's in the kiln and maybe wasn't yet properly, or yes, maybe before the extra stage. Yeah, maybe before it was properly, there's a word for it. What? Glazed maybe, or something else. Yeah. In other words, a new kli back then in times of the Gemara, we see also in Shabbos, even from Mateches, even kli from metal, when you pour cold water, that what strengthens it. Sometimes on Shabbos, you pour hot water, cold water, it's a shiloh of creating a kli. I remember even as a child in Israel, the pots back then were not as good as the pots today. Yeah, in other words, they're more like brittle. They were brittle. They're not as, brittle. In other words, the kli back then, if it would be in a hevel, the hevel would affect it that in somehow crack open. Okay. So but now comes the knockout. Frank the Gemara, what did you just tell me? The Amesi Eloi comes to include everything. The birds and the things and everything. I don't know, the birds and the other insects, whatever. And what? And everything. Come to Torah and takes out Adam and kelim. Frank the Gemara, you're building your entire building on the pasuk of Amesi Eloi. I'm going to break your building. Hi, Frank the Gemara, Amesi Eloi. We've seen a few times already that the words Amesi Eloi are necessary, are used for Rava's statement. Yeah? Dama Rove, said Rove, Show Psula Mukdoshin, remember him, the show that is semi-holy, the show that is from Psulei Mukdoshin, a show that's been kadosh to Beis Hamikdash, not only a shore, and that was redeemed. Is it fully secular, so to speak, fully non-kadosh? No. There are three things at least you can't do with it. You can't shear its wool if it's a sheep. You can't milk it, and you can't use the dead body. You can only eat it, bekitzer. Yeah, maybe work with it. I'm not even sure about that. So shol psula mukdoshin shenofal labo potu. If a shol psula mukdoshin who belongs to a person but doesn't fully belong to him because his usage is limited, and that shol fell into my bor, let's say, I'm potur shenema because it says v'amesi eloi oy 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 oy. This pasuk is already used up. V'amesi eloi to tell me, continues the Gemara. Only if the dead body belongs to the owner, then I'm chayev if it fell into my bore. Excluding this one, that show which after death, post-mortem, the owner of the shore cannot do anything with it, because an avail of the dead body of an animal that was in the Kodesh and back from the Kodesh by Pidyon belongs to the owner. The dead body cannot be sold, neither to Mackenzie, not to Mahmoud, not to anybody. Such an animal is not coming, I'm not chayiv on that, because it's not the Hamesi Eloi. The dead body does not belong to anybody. That's it. You bury it, as you said nicely, in the bore. The pasuk is used up. You're building an entire very nice castle here on the Hamesi Eloi, but it's castle in the air. Because I'm sorry, the pasuk of Hamesi Eloi, knock, knock, it's already used up. It's occupied by another brosha. One second. Now we're coming to the climax. But don't worry, you have another pasuk. You can't rest assured. Kesef Yoshiv Lebeolov. There's another pasuk that tells you Kesef Yoshiv Lebeolov. You should return money to the legal owner. Lerabois called the Islay Bailim. Comes to include anything that has an owner. Kesef Yoshiv Lebeolov means any type of ownership. I already know that the person has to be paid and he gets the dead body and the money. Why is the Torah telling me again, Kesef Yoshiv Lebeolov, you should return money to the owner? Anything that has any kind of owner, meaning I don't mean the dead animal that's Kodesh. That Enechnami is not included. True. But Kesef Yoshiv Lebeolov means what? Kelim, Odom, like a slave, let's say. Birds. Birds are big business here. Chamol, Shah, for sure, everybody. Everything is included. Anything that's worth money that fell into the pit, I'm chayev, except for that shor mukdashin, because that's excluded by Mesi Eloi. But the birds are inside. The rooster is worth money. The dove is worth a parrot, a peacock. They're expensive. They're worth money. They fell inside. Of course, you have to pay because kesef yashav lebeolov. Thank you for patience. Now the Gemara is going to ask a question, but you're going to answer. I'm going to ask. Don't look at the Gemara. Oh, says I. So how do you know that a person in kelim are potur? Why is it according to Rabbanon a ban in kelim are potur? Because we say, "Shol v'lo yodam chamor v'lo kelim." Frag the Gemara. Let's look at it inside. You know it already. Aleph hey. What's Aleph hey? Ihachi. Very good. Ihachi. If so, afilu kelim v'odam nami. They're all worth money. A person sometimes belongs to another person. Doesn't sound nice to the Western ear, but it is. In Aloha, our slaves, our maidservants. Yeah. So kelim v'odom, the vessel, the china dishes are owned by a person. So maybe they're also included in kesef yoshev lebeolov. You better pay for my china dishes or my slave. Amakra, here we come crescendoing into the maskana. Amakra shoveloi odom chamo v'lo kelim. Shovel odom chamo v'lo kelim. That's a famous line that was hammered into us in Taylor. Shoveloi odom chamo v'lo kelim. Okay, show excluding a man. And chamor excluding vessels. But what did we gain after the whole Maisa? We gained that it's not only shor v'chamor, and we can't only, only shor, only chamor. That would be very misleading. It would be too constricted. And how do you know birds? How do you know things that are very different to shor chamor? They're not even makabel tuma, different cattle of fish, different cattle of birds. How do you know? You know that from kesef or a fish. A fish can't walk in the street, but let's say somebody fell with a fish tank. No, with an aquarium, a fish tank. Somebody was holding a fish tank. That's not a joke, yeah? And it broke, and the fish got out. I mean, it was splashed out of the fish tank, and he died in the bore. There's no air. Hevel. It has no air. So then, there's no water. I mean, there is air. There's no water. So then what? I assume you'd be chayiv on the fish. I think so. Why? Because it says kesef yoshev lebe'olav. Anything that's worth money. Anything that's worth money. How do you know excluding odom and kelim? Shovel odom, chamov lo kelim. If you want to be really, really nice to me, Baruch, give me 4 more lines and that would really, really finish it off. I appreciate it. Craig Digmara, wait a second. Who is the one who believes that kelim are included? And I'm chayiv on the kelim, Rabbi? Very good, Yosef. Wow. Well, Rabbi Yehuda, the kamerabilu le kelim. Rabbi Yehuda does include kelim. According to Rabbi Yehuda, if you go to Rabbi Yehuda's besmedrash based in, you're going to get your China dishes back. Balabal should pay for your China dishes. And chad pami. Rabbi Yehuda kamerabilu le kelim. Bishlam shor might be odo. Shor comes to exclude odo. Very nice. And chamor might be. What do you mean from the word chamor? The word chamor is redundant. Just like animal, stam chaya, excluding odom. Why chamor? What's chamor excluding? It's not excluding anything. It does not exclude kelim. Kelim are included. Ela amarov, listen to this. Chamor debor le Rabbi Yehuda. Chamor mentioned in the parsha of Bor, according to Rabbi Yehuda, which is exactly what we're talking about. The Aveda, when the Torah talks about losing object, lost and found, which everybody learns in Kita Daled, Elu Metzias, yeah? Se, mentioned about it says, Se, Salma, all kinds of items that the person loses. Each item in the pasuk mentioned there has a reason, except for Se. The Gemara in Elu Metzias doesn't know why the Torah has to mention the word Se, sheep, in the pasuk. L'divra hakol, kasha, difficult. Wow, we don't know. Sometimes remain with the question, and that's legitimate. In other words, the word chamor, according to Rabbi Yehuda, we remain with a question mark. And the word just like stam is an example, another one in that club of mysterious words. Also, the word se, when it comes to Aveda, is also a word which we don't know what it's coming to, what is coming to tell us. Yeah, what's the service of this word? And we remain with the question in its kasha. Yes, questions now. It's a good time for questions. I'm listening. Yeah, Rabbeinu. Weiter. Nofal letoicho shor cheresh shoite v'koton chayev. I did not prepare that piece, so let's learn it together. You and I. That's great. So what did we say? If a shor cheresh shoite v'koton fell inside, shor cheresh shoite v'koton is chayev. The bor owner is chayev. My shor cheresh shoite v'koton. What does it mean when the Mishnah says shor cheresh shoite v'koton? It can mean one of two things. Let's see. If you want to tell me shor shel cheresh, shor shel shoite, shor shel koton, which means what? I'm sorry, you chayev on the shore of cheresh shoite v'koton belonging. It's a shor who's healthy and adult and knows what he's doing. The shor, but it belongs to the famous trio, to the famous threesome. Cheresh shoite v'koton. It belongs to them, and a minor can own property. If somebody gave him a gift, somebody gave a gift to a 10-year-old for his 10th birthday, gave him a shore. Very nice. That's a nice educational gift. You look after the shore. Animal therapy. Yeah. So now the shore belonging to cheresh shoite v'koton. Yeah. That is to say, on them you chayev on them. Shor shel pikeach potur. Yeah. Does make sense. That is insane. You want to tell me a shor of cheresh shoite v'koton, you chayev on them. That is to say, if the shore belongs to a normal person, then a potter, that's beyond normal. Obviously not. Yeah. No, it doesn't mean that. It means, as we already explained before, I think you learned it with Reuven. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, no, shor shehu cheresh, the shore which is deaf. The shore is deaf. Shor shehu shoite, the shore is crazy. I guess some animals are insane. Yeah, the shore is nicht normal. I don't know, it's been to or trauma. I don't know, crazy shore. Or shor shehu koton. I admit I don't know what's the limitation. I don't know what is the age limit for shor to be a koton. I don't think shor have bar mitzvahs. You know, I know reform people do bar mitzvah to the dog, which is sick, but it's true. It's very sad. It's insane. So, no. So then, yeah, but a shor which is young, I don't know. I want to really find out. A shor which is below a certain age or below a certain stage of development, that shor you chayv on that. A shor shupikeach potur, but then again, is a question. You want to tell me that if the shor was a regular shor that is normal and walking, I'm potter on that? The balabo is potter if a regular shor fell inside? Omer Rabbi Yirmiyah, says the Gemara, Omer Rabbi Yirmiyah, Lo mi buy koma. It's not exclusive, it's inclusive. Not only that, but only that. Lo mi buy shol shu pikeach dechayev. A shol which is sane and good shol is chayev. Aval shol cher shote v'koton. A shol cher shote v'koton. I would have said if the shol itself is incapable, the shor himself is such a clumsy shlemazel of a shol. Ema, I would have thought chershuse gormaloi, katnuse gormaloi, veli poter. I would have thought it's not my fault. Why do you allow your shore, which is so incapable? It's because he's deaf, because he's so young. It's a young calf, only a day old. You let him walk in the street. It's his fault or his owner's fault that allowed that accident to happen. I, the shore owner, I'm potter. Had it been an adult, mature, with it, streetwise shore, that wouldn't have happened. It's your fault, says the bar owner to the shore owner. Why do you allow such a little kid or Michigan one? Why do you allow them to walk down the street? Kamash malan, we don't say that. Kamash malan, no. You don't have that excuse. And even the shor chershev cotton, you also chayiv on them. At the end of the day, it's your well, you chayiv on it. Okay, we'll continue Mitzvah Hashem tomorrow. Okay, the Seder Shkoyach. I'm sorry for everything that happened with Zoom, but I hope you will be fixed in Mitzvah Hashem. Shkoyach, thank you very, very much. Have a great day. Thank you.